our focus to some other breaking developments now coming in. It looks like trouble is only mounting for Udhayanidhi Stalin after he made those comments on Sanatan Dharma, because now we are understanding a group of eminent personalities, in fact, have written a letter to the Chief Justice of India, and they're calling it hate speech, and they're saying the Chief Justice of India should in fact take cognizance of this matter. So as I pointed out, it looks like trouble is only mounting for Udhayanidhi Stalin. Remember, this began a couple of days ago when Udhayanidhi Stalin, mincing no words, said like dengue and malaria, Sanatan Dharma also in fact should be eradicated. And what was even more troubling was the fact that he continued to stick to his remarks even when our colleague Purnima spoke to him after an entire controversy had broken out, saying, I've said nothing wrong, I stand by my remarks. Now, politically speaking, of course, this has resulted into a fresh storm with the BJP training their guns as far as the DMK is concerned. And even within the opposition blocks, it looks like a divided house. But as I pointed out now, a bunch of eminent personalities, in fact, have written a letter to the Chief Justice of India. There are about over 200 citizens that have now written this letter to the Chief Justice of India. The letter asks the CJI to take suo motu cognizance of hate speech which had been made by Udhayanidhi Stalin that could incite communal disharmony and violence as well. So as I pointed out, it looks like the trouble is only mounting for Udhayanidhi Stalin after he made those remarks where, as I pointed out a short while ago, he said, like dengue and malaria, you should eradicate Sanatan Dharma as well. I'm just reading out certain excerpts from that letter. It's addressed to the Chief Justice of India. It says, we the undersigned are writing to draw your notice to a recent development which has caused much anguish in the hearts and minds of common citizens of India, and especially those who believe in Sanatan Dharma. A few days ago, Udhayanidhi Stalin, a serving minister in the Tamil Nadu state government, while addressing a press conference in Chennai, stated, and they've quoted from what he said, few things cannot be opposed, they should be abolished. We can't oppose dengue, mosquitoes, malaria or corona. We have to eradicate them. In the same way, we have to eradicate Sanatan Dharma as well. And the letter further goes on to say that this is hate speech. They're also gone on to say, your lordship is aware of the importance of Sanatan Dharma and the same cannot be understated. It is a set of duties incumbent upon all Hindus and often has been defined as an eternal that will always be relevant and gives the people of the Hindus the faith, the freedom to choose the mode of worship and the Almighty of their choice. Let's also first bring in our colleague Poonam, who in fact is joining us from our newsroom to take us through that fine print of that letter. Poonam, talk to us about the people who've signed this letter and the kind of action they're looking in to come in from the Chief Justice of India.
There are several former bureaucrats, several police personnel, former police personnel who've also signed this letter, all of who are signatories. They're seeking action from the CJI over this. But let me take you through what exactly they've taken objection to. It's not just a comment that has been made, but they also go on to talk of how he actually went on to justify the comments he made. The letter reads that Udhayanidhi Stalin not only made the hate speech, but he refused to apologize for his remarks. Rather, he justified himself by stating that I will say this continuously with reference to the comment that he was making on Sanatan Dharma. He reiterated that he stands by his remarks and offered ambiguities and nuances that did little to address the concerns that were raised by the people. They also go on to talk about how these remarks undeniably are amounting to hate speech, which is why action needs to be taken as far as any provisions under the law for a hate speech goes. It also talks about the government of Tamil Nadu's actions in this particular case. In the face of the Supreme Court's judgments in a previous case is what is cited here as precedents and why action can be taken and should be taken against Udhayanidhi Stalin as far as this particular comment goes, Ridhima.
Politically speaking, we are already seeing a divided house as far as the opposition is concerned. While many within the Congress seem to be supporting Udhayanidhi Stalin, saying what he said is nothing wrong, but look at the likes of TMC and others who've taken strong objection to it. But despite all of that, Udhayanidhi Stalin continues to stick by his remarks and, as you were rightly pointing out, says that I will repeat it if need be. Okay, we'll try and get Poonam and the rest of our colleagues back as well. But as we pointed out, that it looks like the trouble is only mounting for Udhayanidhi Stalin post this letter that in fact has been written by eminent personalities who in fact are asking action to be taken from the Chief Justice of India. I believe our colleague Poonam is now back with us. Poonam, as I was pointing out a short while ago, what is becoming even more concerning are not just the comments that have been made by Udhayanidhi Stalin, but the fact that he continues to brazen it out as well. When he was speaking to Purnima asked him, our colleague, and he said, if needed, I will repeat this comments, and that seems to be becoming even more problematic.
Absolutely. He in fact even said that he will go to the courts if he is dragged to, in this particular case. He says that I will fight this legally because I see nothing wrong in what I have said. That those were his exact words as far as our conversation with him went. But let's take a look at this letter once again and the kind of intervention that these eminent personalities are now seeking. This is the letter that talks of how the Supreme Court needs to intervene because the state government has failed to act. That's the point that these eminent personalities are trying to make, Ridhima.
On with us. Let's also now bring in our colleague Payal, who's also joining us on the broadcast. Payal, Poonam just took us through fine print as far as who all have signed this letter, but talk to us about the kind of action they're asking from the Chief Justice of India.
Well, of course, they say that this is a comment which is completely unwarranted. This is a comment which should not really have been made given the context and given the country that India that we're looking at. Obviously, so that's something which these bureaucrats have pointed out. They've written to the Chief Justice demanding action against Udhayanidhi Stalin. But politically, it's a huge storm. We've already seen the remarks coming in from the top leaders of the BJP, whether it's Amit Shah, whether it's JP Nadda, amongst the others as well, clearly saying that this is something which actually racks up the kind of politics that the opposition parties do. The opposition parties don't mind, appeasing a certain community or a certain set of communities, but when it comes to the larger majority, they have been making these remarks as well. And even more so that Udhayanidhi Stalin has not apologized so far. They've been making demands that Udhayanidhi Stalin needs to apologize and Stalin himself needs to apologize. As far as his remarks are concerned, this has opened up a can of worms as far as the politics in this country come, and it's going to be very important for the opposition parties to really clarify their stand and come out with what they really stand out for. Because there are several opposition parties who have not come out and really asked Udhayanidhi Stalin to condemn his remarks. They've not come out to condemn his remarks. They basically just put out their own line as well. So, is this a point that is going to actually, set a divide amongst the opposition? That remains to be seen. But this is a very, very important letter that these people have written to the Chief Justice.
Payal, as you were rightly pointing out, politically speaking, it has in many ways opened a can of worms because it's also shown how divided the opposition bloc is. But I want to talk to you specifically as far as the BJP is concerned. We're also seeing them hit out as far as the HRNC minister is concerned. What are the BJP specific demands as far as the HRNC minister is concerned?
Well, the BJP has made one remark that he needs to unequivocally has to apologize, has to say that he's taking his words back. They will not settle for anything less than that. And who gives him the right to insult the Sanatan Dharma? What does he know about Sanatan Dharma? You saw the remarks coming in from Rajnath Singh yesterday when he was speaking at a rally. Then you saw Amit Shah, then you saw JP Nadda. So all of these leaders have come out and really asked for his apology and also said that there has to be a clarification which has to come in particular from the Congress party, which is the principal opposition party, saying that whether they actually agree with what is being said or they distance themselves from what is being said, and why don't they ask their alliance partners to really apologize and set the line straight. So it's quite a political storm. Given the fact that the opposition parties have tried to come together, many within that fold will also tell you that this was completely unnecessary. This was no need for such a remark to really come in at this point in time. But yes, Udhayanidhi Stalin and the DMK stands by what he's really said.
I also want to talk to you as far as how do you see, okay, Payal, unfortunately we will have to leave that conversation there. So as I pointed out, it looks like trouble is only mounting as far as Udhayanidhi Stalin is concerned post this letter that has been written to the Chief Justice of India. We'll